Good evening. Good evening. Coach Judy here with Judy Prokopiak Coaching. And we're welcoming you to this Facebook Live, which is, controlling the uncontrollables for athletes, kind of in challenging times. So I'm here with my good friend, Dr. Nick Schumacher. Is it Schumacher?
Schumacher.
Schumacher.
Dr. Schumacher with
He's
Premier
not a
Chiropractic.
shoemaker. He's a Schumacher.
That's right.
Let me get it
Right.
right. He's with Premier Chiropractic and Performance, right? So I just want to take a moment before we get started on all that we're doing here and just sort of honor that whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever your circumstances are, whatever you're going through, we're here to be part of the solution for the global, we have a global pandemic. We have now, lots of challenges trying to really heal our country and heal the world of racism. So, we're just trying to be part of the solution. And we came up with this a few, maybe a month ago. And so we're just really just want to honor that we're here with you and we're just trying to be part of the solution. And today we're just talking about for athletes, coaches, parents, right? You're still living your life. We're still living our lives within all of this. So we're just here trying to offer that up. So, yeah, so that's pretty much what we have for you today. And we're going to get started with really who I am a little bit, and then I'll let Dr. Nick talk and Dr. Shu. Um,
Yeah.
and one of the passions that I have as a former athlete, I was a competitive swimmer growing up, and I qualified for the 1980 Olympics, and a series of my own circumstances, illness, injury, boycotting the Olympics, parents filing bankruptcy, quite a few circumstances. So I really have a lot of compassion for whatever you might be going through. And, my Olympic dream fell apart. And there were just a lot of challenges that I struggled to sort of overcome, but I did, and, life came on. But what I wanted to say to that was that I really understand the commitment and the dedication and the dreams and the goals and the identity of what happens when you're an elite athlete. And when things don't work out for you, whether it's part of your own doing or whether it's circumstances outside your control. And then I went on to become a nurse for 25 years and diabetes educator. And I was the head coach of a swim team for over a decade. So, I have a lot of experience with this kind of thing for, to bring to you. And now I'm a life and leadership coach. And so, that's a little bit about my story. And so I'm here to sort of bring the mindset, the emotional agility, the resilience factor, along with, sports and training and all of that. And, Dr. Shu has his own story, but he has a different perspective. But we thought coming together would be a great opportunity to really
For sure.
see how we could help our athletes out there and parents and coaches. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Shu.
Yeah. Well said. I mean, we met, it was a couple months ago through a networking event here in Jacksonville. And we got to talking about kind of our past and through athletics and through the healthcare field and things like that. And we actually have a very similar past, and especially when it comes to athletics. Like she said, she was, 1980 Olympics, and that kind of fell through and had her own injuries and personal defeats here and there that she had to find opportunities to bounce back. And I did as well. I was actually a high school baseball player, went on to eventually play college baseball at High Point University, a small D1 school in North Carolina. But going into that, I actually tore my labrum and had surgery, and offers got dropped, looks got dropped, and I was kind of dead in water, didn't really know what to do. So ended up walking on at High Point and working my way onto the team there, and actually ended up coaching for a few years. And I've always had the passion of helping others. When I was playing baseball, it was helping my teammates. I was always the team guy. I never was the
Mhm.
high talented guy. I was always the team guy, and then coached for a few years with some younger athletes, 13 year olds and up to 18 year olds, and then got out of that, got into my profession now, which I'm helping people every day. So just like Coach Judy said, we're here to find the solution. I mean, there is a lot of uncertainties going on. I mean, no one saw 2020 coming. Everybody thought this was going to be a great year. I did. But it's really hit hard in many ways. And kind of, you know, when we were starting this, I was just thinking about, high school athletes and, you know, the seniors and things like that, and going into their freshman year at college and the uncertainty there. Is there
Mhm.
going to be, a season in the fall? Or is my school even going to have my sport? I know a lot of schools drop baseball, golf, swimming. There's been a lot of sports dropped. So there's a lot of uncertainty there. But then I got to thinking, well, even in college, these college athletes, a lot of seniors, they're who knows if they're going to be able to come back and play their respective sport for a fifth year, or if their season got cut short. And now we're bringing in new freshmen. There's a lot of uncertainties, and there's a lot of people affected by this. And whether it's athletes, coaches too, parents, I mean, everybody's affected by this. And just with our background, we're kind of focusing on athletics, but it goes a lot further than that.
Yeah.
So in in summary, what we're really trying to do is, obviously we are dealing with this global reality. Whether there's many different issues. We don't really need to go into those specific issues, but what we are going to go into is kind of identifying and try to identify our personal realities, and we each have one. We've kind of both identified our past ones and how we can help and kind of relate to that. But what we're going to do is kind of dive into what is uncertainty, and kind of work through that, and then eventually trying to figure out a way back to a new normal. So that's where we've kind of come up with this webinar series, and we've made it into 3 parts, and we're starting tonight, and we're going to identify these uncertainties. So I'm going to throw it back to Coach Judy. She's going to kind of kick off some things to really focus on when we're identifying our own personal uncertainties. So
Yeah.
back to you.
Awesome. It is really great. This is really just going to be more of a conversation. And so if you're watching live, type something. We can, try to respond to you if you have some questions, or you want to kind of respond to what we're talking about. And tell us kind of where you're from, what's going on. If you're watching the replay, just put in replay so we'll know to sort of catch you, and, we can respond to you. Also, please know that you can reach out to either of us through Facebook, right, Messenger, or leave a post or something. And definitely at the end, we'll have some ways for you to get in touch with us if you want to. We're not really sure what you're going through. I'm currently not an athlete. I mean, we're all athletes. Dr. Shu will tell you we're all athletes.
That's right. We're all built the same.
We're all athletes. But I did go paddleboarding for 2 hours the other day, so I think I'm an athlete. But I'm not currently, in the circumstances that some of you are. So, we want to offer you ideas and solutions, and problem solvings, and things that you can bring to your team, or to your own world, or to your coach, or to your parents, or if you're a parent, how can you help your kids, right? So that's kind of what we're doing. So please feel free to put some stuff in the chat, put some stuff in the thing, so that what do you want? What are you really going through? Like, what is your biggest challenge right now? Right? Is it mindset? Is it physical? Like, are you sitting around eating potato chips? Are you missing your friends? Are you missing your teammates? You're missing that connection? Like, right? So, this is where all of this uncertainty sort of comes in. And, we called this sort of controlling the uncontrollables, which kind of a misnomer. Like, we cannot control the uncontrolled. Like, there are things
Definitely.
that we cannot control at all.
We can
But
think we do, but do we
we
ever?
think we do. We think we have certainty, and we think that we are going to control stuff. Yeah.
That's right.
But in the reality, it's like we do have a lot of control over things, and I'll get into that in a second. But when we talk about uncertainty, it's like the thing is that we thought we had certainty, right? We were like, we were going to school every day, and we knew when swim practice was, we knew when baseball practice was, we knew where our classes were, if you're in school, right? Or as a parent, like, you knew you had the schedule of all the games and the match, like, right? We felt like we had certainty, but we didn't really. We just, kind of were lulled into a sense of normal and whatever, right? And then things happen, and we gotta, I don't even like to use the word a new normal, but we're just gonna use it because it goes with what we're talking about. But, if you look back, like before 9/11 happened, we didn't have to take our belts and shoes off and have little baggies with shampoo this size, and all of that. Like, right then, that became the new normal, right? Or even as you went from middle school to high school, that became your new normal. Maybe you were a backstroker, and then you became a butterflyer because something happened, like, right then, that's your new normal, right? So we're constantly, going through transition and change, and become and realizing a reality for ourselves, which is a new normal, right? But, so when you kind of think about that, it may not feel so overwhelming then, right? You're just like, okay. The thing is, we're all going through it at the same time. The whole world seems to be like, right? Because when you went through your crisis with your challenge with your shoulder surgery and all of that stuff, and then I went through I was in my own little reality and my own crisis, right? I was just kind of going through my own little challenge, right? And other people were living life and doing fine and whatever was going on, but they were having challenges too. Just that we have our own reality, right? We have the global reality and we have our personal reality. So, when you really think about that, it's just a good way to sort of really understand that, we're always changing, the world is always evolving, things are always becoming and unbecoming, and we're always becoming a new version of ourselves. And so the challenge comes is when we cling to the idea of certainty, right? When we cling to that idea that, like, everything was fine and now it's horrible. Everything was good and now it's terrible. Like, everything was fine and now it's not. And then that's where we can get into suffering, right? That's where we can sort of get into the problems of not knowing how to move forward, not knowing how to, because we just feel stuck. We're waiting for certainty to come back. But you know
Right.
what? We're really certain that we're uncertain right now.
Yeah. And that while you were talking about that, and that just talking about going back to our our histories and things like that and our makeup and clinging those certainties, it really is my mindset. I always have to have a plan, even during this time. Like, my plan, whether it's today, for the whole day, for the week, whatever it is, we're always planning, especially athletes. Like, we have a workout plan, we have a regimen, we have that routine. And now it's day to day. Um, sometimes it's hour by hour. Who knows with what's going on in this year? But um, I think the idea really is trying to have the understanding the littlest things can put you moving forward, and as long as you're moving forward, you're moving in the right direction. Um, it's really hard right now to move backwards because the world is almost at a standstill. Certain areas of the world right now are kind of moving, opening back up, things like that. There's a little bit more certainty, but when we were starting to plan this, there wasn't any of that. Even Florida, where we are, was really locked down, and sports and everything. Now trying to bring on the sports here, which is awesome, but it's really, just learning how to have that mindset of moving forward, whether it's the smallest thing or the biggest achievements. And that's where I think we're really going to dive deep into finding, not only identifying these uncertainties, but finding those obstacles and turning them into opportunities.
Yeah. there's a great quote, and it is, "Your dream needs a routine."
Yes.
Right? So, like a lot of people, maybe you had an Olympic dream and now you have to wait a whole nother year, or maybe that's not even going to work out for you because who knows what is or what isn't going to be. But staying, like what you just said, focus forward, right? And even if it's baby steps, or and getting a routine, and whether you're an athlete or a mom or a parent or stay at home, whatever, or you were at home working, or you were having to do your work at the office different.
Yeah.
um uh you know Having some kind of a routine. And the challenge is, you kind of need to create it for yourself, right? Because maybe you're an athlete and your coach, your team didn't quite, didn't it didn't implement anything for you, right? And so you're trying to figure out, what am I going to do, and when am I going to do it? And you're so used to having that schedule, you're so used to showing up at practice at 4 o'clock on, or right after school, or before school, or whatever, right? And so then it becomes part of how you need to really show up with your own self leadership and your own, you know innate sort of leadership, and we'll just call it drive, motivation, right? Inspiration, like, especially because a lot of times, we have a goal of this championship, or this state of, meet, or this big game, or this thing, right? And so we have this vision of what we're working towards. When that gets taken away, when our infrastructure, our community, our connection, our people, our routine gets taken away, it can be really, really challenging to kind of hold it together, right? You're kind of like in limbo land, like, well, how long is this going to be? And then what am I really training for? And what's the point? And right, and we can get really stuck. So what Dr. Shu was talking about was really this concept of, you know really looking at why you do this. Do you do it just for a championship? Probably not. Like, you probably love it if you're doing it every day, right? And there will be some kind of championship. And you know what? Maybe you'll just be your own champion, or just be, right, I'm just going to be better than I was last week. Just going to be better than I was yesterday, right? So he talked about keep moving forward, focus forward, little steps forward, right? And so, we're going to give you a couple of ideas and solutions to sort of, what does that look like, right? So we can, all of that to kind of loop back around to the uncertainty part and the certainty, right? And it's like, okay, what feels uncertain for you, right? Maybe I just mean in general, you just ask yourself, what feels uncertain in your world, right? It's like, okay, well, I don't know the pool is going to be back open again. I don't know when we're going to have a ball game. I don't know what is going to happen next year with sport at school. I don't even
Yeah.
know if school's going to really open back up. Like,
Yeah.
I
I
don't know
think
what's happening in college. Like, right?
I, I completely forgot the MLB draft is tonight, and that's completely changed. They're only having 5 rounds, and normally they have 40. So
See, right?
there's a lot of uncertainty going on in the next couple of days with that draft.
Yeah.
But kind of touching on one point that you were talking about too before we dive into kind of identifying some of these opportunities. But one thing going into this is with your own personal uncertainty, this is actually an opportune time to kind of dig deep and find not only kind of reflect where you've been, but where you are now and where you want to be. I know as athletes, we're always, especially if you're playing a team sport, kind of focused on team and focused on, yourself, but people are telling you what to do. There's always that workout, there's always that practice. It's always structured for you, but now you have the ability to structure that yourself.
Yeah.
And what I mean by finding these opportunities for yourself is if you're, say, a freshman in high school where you just finished your freshman year and you didn't get a lot of playing time, and you don't really foresee yourself getting a whole lot of playing time as a sophomore, this is a great opportunity to find some leadership skills. Learn how to support your teammates. And even during this time, don't wait till things start back opening up. Start calling your teammates. Call your coach. Check in on your coach. It's a really good opportunity to take some responsibility
Yeah.
and turn that into opportunity.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I think that that's where a lot of people are going to make their strides. The
Yeah.
talent pool is going to be a lot bigger in these sports because, I mean, for example, the MLB draft, there's so much talent out there. Normally they're drafting hundreds of kids. There's only 5 rounds. But going to school, now you're dealing with some seniors that are coming back. That talent pool is going to be bigger. What are some opportunities personally, these intangibles, work ethic, leadership, um, your ability to recover physically? That was huge for me. Like I said, I'm not a huge talent guy, never threw, you know, admit probably not in the high 80s either, but I was never the talent guy. I worked my tail off. I held my teammates accountable, and my coaches loved me for that. And that's, I found a way to kind of develop that culture and help develop that culture, and that was a big opportunity for me. Ended up playing four
Yeah.
years, ended up coaching, and I still use those little things that I learned during that time when I wasn't playing or training through rehab, and I still use them today,
Yeah.
owning my own practice and doing that. And you'll find those little opportunities can be the biggest life changing opportunities.
Yeah. I love exactly what you're saying is because as a swim coach, I really stressed life skills. Like, right, that's what I was teaching them. I was teaching them like life skills, time management, what you talked about, like, personal responsibility, leadership, how to be a gracious winner, how to be a good loser, how to learn from your failure, how to set goals, how to do all of that stuff, right? Because the truth is, if you're an athlete out there or a parent or coach or whatever, athletes make great leaders. It's because they have a lot of self-discipline. They have a lot of, fortitude. They have a lot of resilience. They have a lot of, mental agility, right? They have a lot of this because they've learned it from going out there, trying and failing, and trying and trying and succeeding, and right, you just keep going. And so these skills that you're developing right now as an athlete will serve you the rest of your life. And so, but now is the time to really step up into into your own ability, right? And how can I, be a better version of myself? How can I show up and um, take advantage of this opportunity to really excel? Because there's going to be a lot of people that, maybe they're really talented, and maybe they didn't have to work very hard and they kind of got by. And guess what? If they're not working very hard right now, that talent might not serve them, right? But if you're dedicated and committed and you're showing up for yourself and you're, doing push-ups and you're creating a routine for yourself and you're, right? And you are in that mindset that like, I'm gonna do this thing, right? That I'm gonna continue to work, even if you don't know what the end goal is, right? You're just like, I'm still just gonna be better than I was, and I'm gonna reach out to my teammates or my friends or whatever and say, let's go for a run, let's do this, let's do that. My daughter broke her ankle she was in high school, broke her ankle, and she was like the before the first swim meet, right? And she showed up every day with crutches, like at practice. We had to get her a special cast cover thing, and she swam every day, like with the cast, in the thing. And so, when her teammates would complain, she's like, "Look, I come on, I had to go crutches all day at school. Now I'm here, like, you know,
Yeah.
so yeah, but again, like it's you can be an inspiration if you're an athlete, right? You can be an inspiration to other people. You can show people what's possible. You can show yourself what's possible, right? Because the confidence is going to come from,
You'll surprise yourself, that's for sure.
yeah, the confidence doesn't come from like winning an event. The confidence comes because of who you become in the process, because of
Definitely.
the overcoming, because of the, right, because of all of that. So, this is really about resilience and overcoming obstacles, because guess what? This is not going to be the first time you've got challenges. Look, we told you our story. There was no COVID-19 or there was like, you,
No.
you know what? We had our own, thing that we had to overcome. And this is how life is, right? And it's like you might be experiencing a lot of other, maybe your parents are out of work, maybe maybe your parents are divorced, or maybe there's a lot of stress at home, or maybe now you're not even sure about what's going to happen with college, right? So again, all that uncertainty, but this is where you take back control of what you can control. You can control your routine. You can control what you're eating or not eating. You can control what time you go to bed. You can control your mind, your thoughts. You can control what kind of workouts you're doing, right? You can control a lot of things, right? So let's focus on that, right? That's how you turn the obstacle into an opportunity. It's like, okay, what can I control? A lot of things. Guess what? Can't control the weather, right? We have no control over that. But we don't blame the weather when you know it's like, okay, so we could sit around and blame, we could say, COVID-19 took my, like, I don't want you to be the athlete that says in 20 years COVID-19 ruined my life. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want you to be that person. Like, you know what? COVID-19 was here. It's a circumstance. It there are things that happen because of it. However, you get to give it whatever meaning you want. You get to decide the meaning that you're going to give all of this. And you could be like, man, COVID-19 was the best thing that ever happened to me because I worked out, I got my thing, I did my stuff, I became such a better athlete or whatever, right?
Yeah, pretty much we want to help you be the comeback story.
There you go.
Whatever it may be, wherever you started, we want you here, and we want you better mindset, better physically.
That's right.
Whatever sport
Emotionally,
you
mentally.
exactly. And it doesn't even have to be with sports. We've kind of touched base on how this is all resolved about life skills and developing that, and truly, ultimately, that's what every coach does. They
Yeah.
want to grow young men and women into superior athletes, but also superior people. And that's their main goal. And that's where you can really chime in and do the same.
Yeah. Awesome. Um, so I wanted to just say again with this turning obstacles into opportunities that, you can look for the gift in here, and I'll just give you an acronym because I love acronyms. Makes it easier to remember stuff. But it really is, the G is for grieving. We're not dismissing that this is hard. We're not dismissing that seniors aren't getting to graduate with, like, so many things are going. You didn't get to go to prom. You didn't get to go to the college. I had a swimmer NCAA's, like, nope. Like the first day they swam, then they didn't swim the rest of the days, and it was like, okay, right? And so, lots of things are going on. But so give yourself the opportunity to just be sad and grieve the loss, right? Because any kind of a loss is a loss. Like grief is not just for people that dying, it's for, when we lost our respective sports and our dream and our vision and our goals, like that was really hard, right? So we had, and if you don't grieve it, then it's going to kind of linger and come with you. So, just be like, it's okay to be sad and to be disappointed and to be upset and frustrated, right? We just don't want you to get stuck there.
Yeah.
We just don't want you to get stuck there. So allow yourself to just feel sad that your graduation didn't happen, sad that you didn't get to finish your athletic career, whatever that looked like. Maybe high school was going to be the end. You weren't going to do anything after that. Like that's fine too, right? So it kind of ended abruptly, right? But this is how things are. Sometimes jobs end abruptly. My husband worked for an airline. They filed bankruptcy. Okay, guess we're moving on, getting another job. Like totally out of our control, right? And so this is just how life, marriages end and things come to an end, but that's again an opportunity. Okay, well, what's next? Right? But you got to grieve. You have to grieve. You have to give yourself a chance to just feel all that emotion and to just feel sad, right? And then the I is identity, right? It's like the I in the gift is identity, right? We're an athlete, we're this, we're that, or we're a champion, or we're a dancer, or we're a singer or musician or whatever we are, right? It's like we really cling to our identity, especially athletes. We get a lot of needs met being an athlete, right? We get needs as far as like our connection, we get our sense of self-worth, we get this our sense of achievement and confidence. Like we get a lot of things from our sport, and so starts to impact our identity a lot.
Yeah.
And so we want to realize that our identity, you know, might be pivoting here, and we might just feel a little lost inside because we're like, well, who am I if I'm not? I mean, I still have people saying like my parents' friends, oh, are you still swimming?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, no. I mean, I swim, but I'm not, competing at the Olympics. Yeah, no. You're the swimmer. Like I'm still the swimmer.
Yeah.
Even though I've had like 14 careers and 2 kids and I'm still the swimmer in their brain.
Oh
So
yeah.
our identity sort of gets caught up in there, but just realize it's okay. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly becoming the next best version of ourselves. But again, we have to sort of let go of who we thought we were going to be, right? I thought I was going to be an Olympian. Didn't quite work out, right? Or whatever, like how we thought life was going to be, your identity. And then F is for focus. We've talked about this. Focus forward. Focus on what's important. Focus on what you can control. Focus on really what you want, right? Because even if it doesn't come true, like I didn't quit on the Olympic dream. I kept going until I couldn't go anymore, and then I was like, okay, well, then I'll time to do something else. Um, but focus on if even if the Olympics something happens next year. Like, what would happen if people just sat around and said, "Oh well, I don't know if the Olympics are really going to happen, so I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to wait it out and see what happens."
Yeah.
So all of the focus on what focus on all of those elements, right? And focus on how you can be a leader, and focus on how you can help somebody else, right? Maybe you're a senior in high school, rising senior, and maybe there's some freshmen or soft, like how can you help them? How can you show up as a leader, right? Maybe you're in college. How can you help them be
Yeah.
like, right? They don't know what you know. They haven't kind of been through what you've been through. So, and then the T is kind of take control, right? It's a little bit about all of that, but take control of your mind, take control of your thoughts, of your feelings, take control of what you can control, and let go of the other stuff, because that's just going to stress you out trying to control things that you can't control. So I just really want to just throw that out there, right? Get that there's a gift in whatever you're going through. Like take it and go forward with it. That works whether you're no matter what's going to happen in your life. There's always a gift in what's happening for you. There's a lesson, there's something to learn about yourself, there's something an opportunity for you to grow, it's an opportunity for you to, learn something, right?
Right.
Maybe
And
you'll learn that you don't even like sports anymore. You're like done. I don't want to do that anymore.
yeah. And definitely identifying the gift, and don't get frustrated if it doesn't come right away. Again, it's uncertain times. We don't know when fall sports are going to begin. We don't know. There's no certain time frame this needs to happen. And I'm kind of jumping into the webinar a little bit more, but next week, we're going to be hosting another one, and it's enjoying that journey.
Yeah.
So don't set up a time frame. Don't limit yourself right now, and just enjoy the process. Enjoy developing that new routine. You have tons of opportunity that we've discussed tonight, but enjoy finding that. Enjoy creating that new routine for yourself, and like the new normal. Um, there's a lot of fun times that can be had, a lot of cool things that's going to come up, and just have an open mindset to be able to identify not only what's going on with you, but identify those small key opportune moments. Maybe it's, a teammate reaches out and is having an issue with something. That is a great opportunity to, hey, let's work this together, start developing those leaderships, that teamwork mentality, helping others. Maybe it not might not all be about you, but find those opportunities in other people as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, this, it might just be, maybe there's a personal development book to read, right? That about, or maybe you want to watch, I think I haven't watched it yet, but it's things about Michael Jordan. It's a Netflix series or
Oh, The
something.
Last Dance.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
that was
haven't seen I haven't seen that yet, but I need to see that, right? And so, you
brilliant.
know,
Yeah.
be open to, hey, maybe I really do need to work on my mindset. Maybe I can reach out. You don't have to wait for, we didn't wait for someone else to say, hey, maybe do a webinar. No, we just decided, hey, we're going to do this thing. We're going to
Right.
show up, right? Maybe you're going to get up, maybe you get your teammates together, whoever want, and get on a Zoom call, right? And just kind of,
And especially as you go further into athletics, I mean, obviously you were pretty deep going to the Olympic trials and things like that, but when things don't work out and you aren't able to kind of help build your own support system, lift yourself out of those uncertainties, the the support system around you, not necessarily your friends or family, but say you're with an organization. The further you get, the older you get into sports, that organization looks at you a little differently. It's not going to be your little league coach patting you on the back saying, hey, go get them next time. It becomes more of a business, even with college athletics. Coaching, I saw that a little bit more than a player. There's a lot more business aspects to that. And as you get further along, that support system gets a little bit smaller. So you need to learn how to start creating your own individual support system.
yeah,
And yeah, talk with your friends, family. That's a great opportunity to even go outside of athletics and, you know, focus on those relationships, because that's going to be what really gets you through, is that those friends and family. So, it's we've had a lot of family time being stuck at home, things like that. Hopefully, people have taken advantage of that, still are. And if you haven't, great opportunity right there to develop that support system, because those organizations and those teams that you're on might not be there if you're not able to come back ready to go.
yeah. I mean, that's a great point. Um, that's a really powerful piece of resilience, is having, even if it's just one person, right? Even if it's just one person in your life that feels stable, that gets you, that supports you, that has your back no matter what. And the bottom line is, you need to be your biggest supporter. Like, you need to have your own back. You need to, not beat yourself up for, maybe you haven't been working out. Like, maybe you haven't really been sitting around doing kind of nothing. Like, right, just been sort of feeling frustrated, or, or maybe you're just sort of exhausted from all your working out. Like, maybe you were just tired, like, right, maybe you needed a mental break, a physical break. But use this as an opportunity to really decide, what do I want, right? Do I love this sport? Do I love this job? Do I love this? Like, is this really energize me, right? And, and I'm sure a lot of you, because athletes are like this, I'm sure a lot of you have, really made a great effort to, like, keep running or keep working out. I've seen many, many of my parents, my friends' kids, they're doing stuff. They're doing P90X at home with their mom and dad. They're like, so a lot of you are really taking advantage of this and trying to do your best, right? And you're moving forward. But, we just want to, kind of frame it in that, like, we can kind of do anything for a short term, You're kind of like, okay, a couple of months, I'm going to really work out. I'm going to work out with my mom. I'm going to do P90X. I'm going to do I'm going to run. Like, and then you're kind of like, okay, what? Like, right. And so sometimes we need to really have something to look forward to. We really need to have a vision forward. And whether or not it's going to come, like, you just need to believe that, you know what, there's going to be some kind of high school sports, or there's going to be some kind of opportunity for me, but I need to create my own opportunity, right? I need to create it by doing what I need to do now, right? It's like I need to do all the things that I need to do as an athlete in order to create the next opportunity. You just talked about, what is it? I don't know, MLB, right? Or the draft, or whatever it was. Right? And so the ones that have taken advantage of that, they have created an opportunity for themselves.
Yeah. And going off a little bit of that is find those opportunities, but also kind of really how to define and redefine your goals.
Yeah.
With athletics, obviously, there's always championships. There's games to be won. There's innings to be won, meets to be won. And there's always competition around you. Being able to push yourself forward and create that competition, I know as athletes, we always are in our own heads, and we're always trying to compete against ourselves as well as others. But a good time is to develop that goal setting mentality for ourselves. It's going to be entirely different. Who knows if you're going to have a championship to go win this year? But what are some goals that you could work towards? And it's identifying those opportunities and taking advantage of them and going after those goals. And another thing that I wasn't very good, and I'm sure Coach Judy can probably say the same, is having the ability to reward yourself. Yeah, I mean,
celebrate the little things.
Yes. And my family, my wife gets on me all the time, like, hey, take a break. I always am in that go mentality, but it's also a good opportunity to sit back, look what's going on, enjoy it, and then refresh and get back to start. Like I said, there's no time frame right now. Great opportunity to do that.
Yeah, to sort of, to also, there's like, as a nurse, we have, and you're a chiropractor, so, but as a nurse, we had a process, and it's called API. Like, that was so it's assess, plan, implement, evaluate. Like, every time you went in to see the patient, assess, plan, implement, like, okay, and evaluate. Oh, are you hydrated? Are you in pain? Are you like, right? So, right. And I'm sure you have a similar process, because this is how you have to take care of patients.
Always reevaluating.
Right. And so it's the same thing for you as an athlete or as a human being on the planet, right? Assess what's going on for you, right? We're kind of back to the uncertainty and like, what are you feeling? What is happening? What are you doing with your day? How are you spending your time? Maybe you have a part-time job and you're not able to really work out the way you maybe whatever. Who knows I don't know what's going on for you out there, but everybody's got circumstances, right? And so don't get in the victim mentality. Just like, stay confident and, positive. But yeah, take a moment to assess where am I? Like, right? Have I kind of fallen behind? Like, maybe I used to be able to run this fast and now I'm not. So you talk about the goal. So maybe your goal can't be a championship thing right now, but what would you be doing if there was a champion? Like a championship, right? How would you be showing up? Right? Because it's that you have to be the person, and then you have to do the things, and then you get to have the results. Right? So we have to be the person. We can't necessarily say, well, there's no Olympics this year, so I'm going to take 6 months off. Like, like, well, right, we sort of assess where you are, and again, right, creating little goals. Like, maybe your big goal is, and when I was a swim coach, it's team sport, but it's an individual sport, right? And I always just said, look, you're just you against the clock. Do you know how many times um, at Olympic trials the world record holder did not make the Olympics? The current world record holder did not swim fast enough on that day at that moment to actually make the Olympics. So they hold the world record and they don't even get to go to the Olympics. Like, right? So these are the things, like, it's, or 4 or 5 people broke the world record all in the same race. Like, oh, guess what? Only one person has it now, even though you broke the world record, 3 people broke it too. Or you held it for like one event because somebody broke it after you. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so it's a great metaphor for life about how, like, you're just you against you always, and make sure that you win.
Oh yeah.
Right? We think that we're competing against other people, but the reality is we have to have a swim meet with 8 people because otherwise we'd be there all day if one person at a time swam.
Oh yeah.
So, we're not really competing against other people, but we are. And, it kind of makes it, it makes it challenging because there's somebody to race and all of that stuff. But ultimately, in life and sports and school and whatever, we're still really, like, you can go out there and perform your best and still not make the Olympics, so, kind of knowing that, it really just distills down to you be you against, you just be the best version of yourself. And how does that work? And so for team sports, like ball, like baseball and basketball and all that stuff, guess what? You guys are a team, but every person is part, like if one person is not playing up to their level, then it impacts the whole team, right?
For sure.
So it would make sense that you still need to show up and do your part and be the best version of yourself. And maybe you'll learn something about yourself. Maybe you'll be like, "Hey, I really love running cross country. I really love doing triathlons. I really love," like, who knows what you're going to discover about yourself when you push yourself,
For
you know?
sure. So I think this is a great opportunity to kind of challenge you guys leading into our next webinar series. Next time we're going to talk about um, how to enjoy that journey back. This one was about identifying those uncertainties, defining those things, and I think we've discussed a lot of opportunities and a lot of things that you can work on and kind of have an open mindset towards. But I challenge you guys to write a few things down. One is write a list of about 4 or 5 different things that you see athletically that you'd like to work on, some opportunities where you'd like to be better. Also, like for you to write down some strengths that you want to or that you think are really good at, maintain those, and you can kind of compare and contrast those. The other one is personal life. What are some intangibles? I'm not talking about running fast, throwing hard, things like that. I'm talking about how can I be a better teammate? How can I be a better leader? How can I be a better, brother or sister? And how do those play into sports? What can I work on? What are some weaknesses? Is it time management? Is it, um, you know, kind of if I'm defeated and getting down on myself too much and not enjoying that comeback and find those opportunities on the next at bat or that next lap to do better. Write some things down where you kind of find those weak spots both athletically and in your personal life, and it will make a big difference when you see it on paper. So make sure you do that. Again, we've talked about those opportunities, identifying those opportunities. Next time, we're going to kind of transition into enjoying that journey back to reality. And then on that third one, jumping ahead again, but making that transition back after we've enjoyed, enjoyed that journey. And now it's time to get back. We'll talk more about, how to make that transition back into reality. But there's a lot to still be talked about, a lot of things that we can discuss that will help you guys out. But I think we've dove deep into some great things to really look out for tonight. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, Coach Judy, you got anything else that you'd like to really hone in on, or
No, I think, like I said, I know that like a lot of people, this is dinner time. Like there was no great time to actually do this. So, so we just put it out there. So, share it with whoever, after you
yeah,
watch it, share it,
it
with
will be.
other.
It's all recorded, right? So
Yep.
they'll have access to it
Yep.
afterward.
Yep. And, it'll be out on Facebook and we'll, be able to put it on YouTube and some different places. But, this, like Dr. Shu said, we were really focusing on athletes because it's a great, like we have our own athlete stories, right? And so it just was a great opportunity to sort of use sports as the vehicle for teaching these lessons.
Yeah,
But these lessons are valuable no matter who you are. So if you're watching this and you know somebody that you think that will find this valuable, maybe they're struggling with some stuff. Maybe they're really, trying to get their mind right or trying to physically kind of get themselves, together. And Dr. Shu, we talked about this before, but he's a chiropractor here locally. So what's really great is that maybe you were having some physical challenges, or maybe you had some injuries, or maybe you kind of took a little break during all of this and you're kind of like, okay, now I need to spend the summer sort of getting myself back in shape. Like, feel free to reach out to him about some sports performance tips, or maybe if you're local you could get into see him and just say, hey, I don't want to injure myself by getting back in, or I'm having, maybe your form is off, right? I know that as an athlete and a coach, if your
yeah,
form is off, you might be working out, but maybe your
yeah,
form is off and you've created some injuries for yourself.
yeah. Not having access to your athletic trainer, things like that. Um, I've been in those situations too, rehabbing and things like that. So I'm here for you guys, whether it's coming in looking at an injury or want to improve on something, or if you just want to talk. I love to get to know my patients, and we have conversations all the time. And you know, it's
Yeah, and
it's a
if you're
great
not
opportunity.
local, yeah, and if you're not local and you're having some issue, still reach out to him. You
Yeah,
can, what is, you go ahead and say what it is.
yeah. So you can reach out on Facebook here or Instagram at Premier Chiro Jax. That's Jax. But yeah, I'm in Jacksonville. Coach Judy's here as well. We both have great Instagrams where we provide a lot of information and tips. So make sure you check those out, share, like those, so we can grow this, help as many people as we can, and we want to do more of these down the road too. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
appreciate you guys watching this.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, and if you're having some, if you're really struggling to sort of get over what's kind of happened for you, reach out to me, right? If you're kind of really, or you're just kind of like not feeling like, I just don't know how to motivate myself. I don't know how to, I just don't feel inspired. I just don't know where to go. Or you're really, feeling a lot of sadness and grief and loss around all of this, right? It's like, remember we talked about identity, and there's a lot of things going on in the world, and a lot of things going on in your world. you know in your world. So and maybe people are just like, oh, just buck it up and just go, and maybe you're just like, I'm just struggling with that, and that's okay. Like, right, just, you're allowed to feel whatever you want to feel, but if you want some help around that, just message me or something, and let's just have a conversation about what you could do, right? So we just, like I said, we're here to be part of the solution. We're here to support you. We're here mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially, right? You need friends and support system. So we're just kind of here to offer you what we think are some great insights and opportunity to move through this, right? We're so the thing is like adversity, right? Everybody sort of gets through it, right? It's like somehow you either survive it or you, like, right? So things happen and we survive and we move on. But what I really like to remind you is that we want to really think about like resilience, right? And resilience is moving through with that, with like grace and like a sense of confidence and a sense of courage and all of that, where it's not just like I survived all that crap, and then you're just kind of in survival mode. We want you thriving. We want you thriving in your life, whether you're an athlete or whoever you are, right? And so this is the stuff that it takes to sort of move and thrive on the other side of this, right? It might take you 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. You might be a bounce back story, or you might just be a comeback. It might take you a while, and that's okay too, right? You get to do you, but the idea is to right. We said at the very beginning, Dr. Shu said, we want you to be the comeback story. We want you to look back and go, wow, because that happened, all of these other amazing things happened in my life, right? It doesn't mean that, hey, like there's terrible stuff. People are dying. There's lots of tragedy and suffering in the world right now. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to, whatever you're going through, to come out to the other side, with a sense of self, with a sense of compassion for yourself and for the world, with a sense of purpose, right? So we're going to take all of our suffering and we're going to turn it into strength.
Perfect.
That's what we're going to do.
Definitely.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Shu, for showing up and chatting and having fun and putting all that wisdom out into the world.
Yep. We'll be back here next week, same
Yep,
time.
we got 2 more Wednesdays. So next Wednesday is really more about the process and enjoying the journey and all of that. And then the last week is really like that, hey, at some point,
it's go time.
At some point, it's going to be go time. Yep. Showtime, go time.
That's right.
And we want you to be ready for that. And that, whatever that looks like. Like at some point, we had to have showtime here, go time.
Oh, yeah. It will happen. Hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah. So
we need
awesome.
to get back to sports.
Yeah, I know. So this is awesome. And yeah, really great. It was a great conversation. Thank you, Dr. Shu, for
Thank you.
For just showing up and doing this thing.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. You guys have a good one.
You too. Bye.